Getting out of debt can feel scary. Money situations are often hairy. But not with the Get Out of Debt Guy show. We'll give you all the tips and tricks that you need to know. To get out of debt, there's just one way to go. It's the Get Out of Debt Guy show.
Hey, you're listening to the Get Out Debt Guy show. I'm Steve Rhode, the old, original Get Out Debt Guy, and here with me is the new Get Out of Debt Guy, Damon Day. Say hello, Damon.
Hello, everybody.
Today we're diving into a tough reality check. The cost of living is rising faster than most paychecks can keep up with it. Job growth is slowing, and shrinkflation is shrinking our groceries. And even basics like electricity are climbing higher than inflation. Families are feeling it everywhere, from housing and rent to medical bills, insurance premiums, and even the hidden fees that sneak onto our monthly statements. We're going to break it down, share real-world examples, and talk about how to navigate when your paycheck doesn't stretch as far as it used to. And Damon, this is a tough subject for a lot of people because, you can only juggle the money so far. And, I think you're seeing it with the people that are contacting you at damonday.com, DAMONDAY.com, that there's just nothing left to squeeze anymore. Is that right?
Yeah, this is the Rent is Too Damn High podcast. No, I wanted to do this topic today on inflation in the sense that I want people to really think about how much things cost today versus how much it cost to live 40 years ago. Because when you think about retirement, most people, I find, are thinking of things in terms of how much am I going to need to have a comfortable life, right? Monthly. How much do I need per month? Okay, my rent is this.
It's like that old expression, if I only had $1 million, I'd retire rich.
Yeah.
But nope.
Yeah, but people think, and they do this a lot, and it's just a fallacy, and I mean, I'm guilty of it too. But they're not thinking of things in terms of how much are things going to cost in 40 years when I'm 80 and I'm on a fixed income. Is that fixed income going to be enough?
It would be one thing, like, for example, when I was in high school, I think the cost of gas was like 75 cents a gallon. However, when you factor in inflation over that time in actual dollars, gas is cheaper now than it was at 75 cents a gallon. So it's not the fact that stuff is just kind of slowly increasing. It's when it increases out of alignment with incomes and how everything just creeps up and gets more expensive.
Well, that's the point, because when people think about what they're going to need for a monthly income, when they think about, okay, my pension's going to be this and my Social Security is going to be this, granted, Social Security is going to have cost of living increase and things like that, but people don't realize when they think, like, this came up with the conversation I had with the client a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about their retirement or lack thereof and this massive debt that they had and the urgency of getting rid of that debt, whether we were going bankrupt, negotiating settlements, whatever it was. We had to get out of the debt because they made good money right now, but they were nearing retirement.
Yeah.
And all their extra money was not going towards beefing their retirement. It was going towards servicing this debt that they 100% would not be able to service when they retired. So there was no option to just continue to carry this debt. We had to get rid of it. And the sooner we get rid of it, the better, because then all that extra money, while they're still earning, can go towards retirement. But we were talking about, I said, hey, look, if I had a magic wand and I can wipe out all this debt, how much would you need right now, to live? And they figured out their pensions when they actually retire, everything's going to be about $7,000 a month is about what they're going to get. And I said, can you live, if the debt was gone, can you live on $7,000 now? And they said, it would be tight, but we probably could.
Yeah.
And then
give
I
it
said,
5 years.
Now, and that's what I said. And I said, now imagine $7,000 10 years from now or 20 years from now. That's not going to be anywhere near the 7,000, because if you think about 40 years into the future, if you're 40 years old right now and you think about how much are things going to be when I'm 80, think about what things cost in 1985 versus what they cost today. and you can kind of project it might do the same thing.
I think we need to come up with a new game. We should call it Your Debt is Lava.
Yeah. Yeah. Your debt is lava. Don't touch the lava. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, I get a Social Security check every month. Thank you.
The old get out of debt guy. I mean,
that's right.
It goes with the territory.
And I mean, my cost of living change that I get every year, I think last time it might have been 3.5%. So, that was keeping up with inflation okay. But the bottom line is that my Social Security check alone would leave me homeless. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if it goes up with inflation. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the bigger problems is it's what I call the treadmill effect. Over the past few years, prices for everyday things have jumped much faster than wages. That's the real problem.
Mm-hmm.
When stuff goes, oh, hey, nobody's going to be able to hear this in the podcast when it's edited, but my dehumidifier just kicked on.
I can hear it. Gotta love the East Coast.
Yeah.
We don't have those in Arizona.
No, you have dry heat.
Yeah.
So wages are just not rising as fast as inflation. And so even though wages did go up, they're just going to keep you feeling like you're on a treadmill, especially when things like electricity is going up at twice the rate of inflation.
Yeah. And this is the Scared Straight edition podcast, right?
Yeah.
Because, there's so many people listening to this, obviously, that are in debt. That's probably why they're listening to the Get Out of Debt podcast. Mm-hmm. And we harp on this all the time, but I just really wanted to shine this light on, because we talk about it, it's costing you too much in retirement. People think, even if you can afford to service the debt, you have to realize that you most likely cannot afford to service the debt. You might be able to today, but it's costing you so much of your future, and what you think you're going to need to have a comfortable life when you're 70 years old is not enough. It's not. It's going to be more than you think it's going to be. Think about, let's say you're renting right now and you're 40 years old, and you're renting a nice little place on the in the West somewhere, not in Kansas or something like that where it's cheaper. But let's say you're renting a nice little 3-bedroom house. It's $2,500 a month. If that house was built in 1985, which maybe it was, what do you think the rent was on that house 40 years ago in 1985? It was probably about $500. Exactly.
Yeah.
And if I would have told you in 1985 that the house that you're renting for $500 is going to cost $2,500 a month in 2025, you would have thought I was absolutely out of my mind. There's no way in hell, because that $2,500 would have probably been more than your monthly income, very likely. Yep. And you would have been like, there's no way, it's not possible. Okay, so extrapolate that forward 40 years from now, that current house that you're in, that you're like, okay, $2,500, my groceries are $1,500. You're doing this budget, but now fast forward when you're 80, that house could easily be renting for $8,000 to $10,000 a month, 4 to 5 time increase, which is what things have increased.
Your income might go up with adjustments, but it's the other things that we can't control.
But you're also
just leading people
also going to be on a fixed income, and they may go up on adjustments, but probably not as fast. And like you said, is the cost of living increase in Social Security going to help you adjust for the fact that rent is now $8,000 a month? No, it's going to help a little bit, but it's not going to, like you said, you would be homeless if all you had was your Social Security.
Another thing that I've been thinking about, as we've talked a lot about side hustles and stuff, is, and we'll get to the making the extra money, to stop the bleeding, but we've had such a cultural shift where things now feel more normal, like Instacart or, whatever food shopping thing. I'm just going to pick on this for a second. It feels more and more normal because we feel like we lead busier and busier lives, that we have to order our groceries like on Instacart. But, here's something that people don't think about when we're thinking about inflation is you can have inflation because of choices that you make. For example, if you're ordering groceries off Instacart, you've got two things that are going against you. Number one, you can't easily or as easily do like unit price shopping for, the better deal in whatever product you're buying when somebody at the store, like Damon, if you're doing a Instacart shop for somebody, you're not doing unit pricing, right?
100%.
You're just picking up what they said.
100%. I would never use Instacart. We don't use Instacart. I drive for them, to make extra money, but I never use it as a customer for that reason. It's too expensive.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Well, and then you got, Walmart or something else. What I'm saying is that the shopper who's doing the shopping for you is not hunting out the best deal. They're picking out what you put in the cart.
The shopper can't.
Right.
You got to do what the app tells you. Even if you see a much better deal right next to it, you have to get what the app tells you to get.
Right. So you've got people who are using, again, I'm just going to use Instacart as the generic example, but, using that to buy groceries more. Now, here's the other thing is if you think that groceries are going up too fast because of inflation, now you add on to that the markup between the store and the app. It's another, 15, 20% between what it would have been if you went into the store versus buying it through the app. And then on top of that, you hopefully you've tipped your shopper, your driver. So you've got all those things. You're not shopping for the best deal. You're paying a premium and you're paying extra for that convenience. And, that's all eroding the value of your dollar.
Yeah, 100%. You just, and the secret is not a secret. You just have to stop spending money on things that you cannot afford right now so that you can set that money aside. And I'm not talking about Instacart in this example. I'm talking about all this debt servicing. You got to I don't care how you get rid of it. You got to get rid of it. You cannot afford to carry debt. And you talked about a generational shift. Think in things of, shopping and things like that. Think about a generation ago, the cultural mindset around debt. It was a bad thing. It was a horrible thing. You never want, and now it's just accepted as normal. Whereas my grandparents.
What do you say? People are only a payment plan away from happiness?
Oh, it's the American dream, baby. You're a payment plan away from happiness. That's it. It's right there. but if you think about how the cultural attitude about that has shifted from that's really bad, you don't want to get into debt, to, well, this is normal. I have to get into debt to live. Right? That's kind of where we've gotten. That's a dangerous place.
Well, it's because of behavioral economics, where the pull to belong and comply with what your friends have or do is stronger than the mental math of doing the right thing. Here's a good example. My wife and I, for years now, not because we're super frugal and not because we budget all the time, because we hate budgets, but, cost of greeting cards. Talk about rent being too damn high. Greeting cards are ridiculous. So what my wife and I do is, instead of buying each other a card, we will take each other to the store and show each other the card we would have bought.
I just imagine Pam holding your hand into the grocery store. Come on, Steve. I saw one I like right here.
Yep. Well, I did just have a birthday.
Could you just maybe snap a photo of the card? Or do you,
you could
actually go home and be like, hey, I got something I got to show you. Let's go.
But, there can be creative ways to think about these things.
Yeah. My wife and I do something very similar, which is, I don't buy her gifts. She just, if it's around her birthday, she just gets something that she definitely needs, right? Because we don't waste money. And then she lets me know what I got her. And I'm like, that's great. That's awesome. And then everybody's happy. I don't have the stress of trying to find something. She didn't have the stress of trying to return it without me knowing. It's perfect.
So I mentioned electricity rising at twice the rate of inflation. I mean, who's going to stop using electricity, right? And the reasons why it's going up so fast are complex. Fuel costs, extreme weather events, the massive investments needed to modernize the power grid, which we haven't done in this country in decades. And, now we have more and more data centers chewing up electricity. And this is a harsh reality. So, forget all the other things. When you retire and in 40 years, is electricity going to be cheaper? Hopefully.
No.
I don't know.
I mean,
No. And the answer is no.
yeah. Overall, it's just, I don't know how to say this any other way. Everything is going to be more expensive. I mean, I was looking last night. What was the median home price in America in 1980? And I'm using 1985 because that was 40 years ago. And so
Well, and I remember that year.
About 40. Yeah. So if you're about 40 now, because I'm going to think about retirement age. Because remember, it's not just about how much things are going to cost the year you retire. You might live for 20 or maybe even 30 years after you retire. So it's not so much what the prices are going to be when you're 65. It's almost what the hell are they going to be when I'm 80 and not really able to change my situation much potentially. Like what I have is what I have.
In 83, we bought our first house. I think it was like $75,000.
Yeah. Well, you're right about the median home price because the median home price in 1985 was about $80,000. Mm-hmm. Today, it's $400,000.
Yeah.
It's an increase of 5. And so if that holds true in the next 40 years, that's a Tim McGraw song, or no, it's 30 years, my next 30 years. Anyway, if that holds true, the median home in America is going to be $1.6 million. And again, that will break your brain and you'll say, there's no way that could. Well, what do you think the guy said in 1985 when you said, hey, your $80,000 house is going to sell for $400,000 was a mansion to somebody in 1985.
No way.
Oh my God. You must be a Monopoly money guy or something, right? I mean, that's just $1.6 million is not going to feel like very much money. It doesn't even today. Remember when if you bought $1 million house, it was like, oh my.
It was a mansion.
Like, oh my gosh, that guy is so wealthy. Now it's a freaking tract home in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, $1 million tract home. Great. Cool.
Yeah. And what's the knock-on effect of that is that rents go up. It used to be before the pandemic, the rule of thumb was that housing should be about 30% of your income. But today it's about 40%. So, and that includes rents too. I can't believe, I hate to say this, but I can't believe how high rents are. They're too damn high.
The rent is, we got to bring that. I can't remember that guy's name. I wish I looked it up. The rent is too damn high party.
Yeah, that was it. He had a nice mustache or something.
Oh, he had a great mustache. And that's, see, if you're talking about 40%, that's an average. So there's people that live in certain places that maybe grew up in an area or live there or, don't have the ability to move or can't move or their whole family's there. And they're struggling. I mean, they're paying 50% of their income to share an apartment somewhere.
Yeah, like think about Orange County or New York City.
I know. And it's not going to get better. So what can people do instead of just kicking them in the stomach? No crap. Thanks for the obvious.
Or instead of telling you to work harder.
Yeah. Work harder. Oh, no, thanks. I've already got 3 jobs, bro. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
what can they do? They don't have to be frugal. They don't have to live in a cave, but they can, number one, be more self-aware of what they're actually spending on. They can reduce their spending without changing what they want. Like the example I gave earlier, go to the grocery store, do a little price shopping comparison. Or the number one thing is you can eliminate the debt and do better moving forward.
The eliminating debt is easier than getting a second job or a third job. Now, if you can do both, that's great, but that's an immediate way. I don't care if you can qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And again, every situation is different. I'm not saying listen to this podcast and go file bankruptcy. That's not what I'm saying. But if we had a magic wand and we can wipe out the debt, then you could free up $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month, whatever it is that you're using to service the debt, basically paying for decisions that you made in the past and that you're still paying for. If we could get rid of that obligation as quickly as possible, you could take that money and start investing that money. See, what is talk about home prices. I didn't look this up, but do you have an idea of what the stock market has done since 1985 overall? Oh,
I think the average annual return has been 15% a year.
Yeah. So imagine getting off the treadmill of 25% interest rates, 28% interest rates. 32% interest rates I'm seeing on some of these cards now. Getting off of that and then taking that money that you were giving to Chase Bank and putting it in your own account where you're averaging 10 to 15% returns a year. That's a 45% a year swing.
Yeah, and in fact, I just pulled up the Acorns app. We talked about that. Your spare change, rounding up, and all that. In the last year, my Acorns account has done 9.53%.
And if you have kids, you can get an Acorn account. It's stupid, simple, push button. You can get what they call an Acorns early account. You could start your kids, your young kids that don't even have a job yet, with an investment account. So they get allowance or they get birthday money or whatever. Teach them to take some of that and stick it in this investment account when they're 8, 9, 10, 11, years old. When they become teenagers, maybe they get their job. You can set them up with a Roth IRA in the Acorns account. Super simple. Set them up for success. Let your kids live at the house longer these days. Don't kick them out at 18 if you don't have to.
Right.
Give them a head start in life. Steve and I, we were talking about this, about a month ago, talking about, 18, 19-year-old kids trying to start out today. And how do you, with housing prices the way they are, and, the median price of an automobile in 1985 was $12,000. That was the median price of a brand new car. Today, $48,000. So you start talking about kids that are just, graduating high school, maybe going to college or not going to college, and they go, oh, I'm going to go buy a house and buy a car and start a family. How do you do that now at 18, 19 years old with the type of job that you can get and how much everything costs? Well, the answer is usually you don't. You let the kids stay in the house longer, but not staying in the house playing video games and wasting their life, but saying, hey, these 2, 3, 4, 5 years that you're here, that you're living rent-free, that we're helping support you, we're paying most of or all of your bills, you go out there and you hustle and you grind and you DoorDash, Instacart, whatever you're into, get some kind of an income coming in and invest half of everything you're making at least. My son puts 60% of everything he makes DoorDashing into the Acorns account.
He'll be a multimillionaire when he retires.
He has no bills right now. So don't waste those 4 or 5 years. Use it. That's how you're going to give your kids a hand up. Now, when my son's 24, 25, he's going to have $100,000 to start off with in his retirement accounts. He's starting his adulthood essentially with $100,000, and we can leave that. Don't touch it. He won't even have to worry too much about retirement because he'll be set with his DoorDash money from when he was a kid, right? So you got to help your kids too, but everything starts from getting out of the debt. You have to put your own oxygen mask on before you can help your kid. You have to get your cash flow in order first.
Let's talk about the panic and fear that people have when we talk about getting rid of the debt as quick as possible, right? They say, oh my God, I can't do that because it's shameful, I'm embarrassed, or whatever, fill in the reason. You and I have heard them all. But are you going to have those exact same emotions? Are you going to be ashamed that electricity doubled? Are you going to be ashamed that the cost of your home and car insurance doubled? This is not about shame. This is just about reality.
Well, and this is just human nature, right? You feel like bad about it now, and you feel like, well, I can afford it, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes. I can keep paying. But if we had a time machine and I could take you 30 years into the future and you could look at your life in 30 years, you might not like what you're seeing. And that, for a lot of you, will be a hell of a lot scarier than not sending a $500 to Chase Bank today, right? It's kind of like the scared straight. Like you really have to imagine what your life is going to be if you continue to carry this debt. How much money are you going to throw at this debt before you finally either pay it off, hopefully, or somehow, or forced to get out of it? If you're close to retirement and you're looking at your bills and your budget and you're looking at what your income is going to be, a lot of you are looking at that going, we don't even know how we're going to pay this debt when we retire. When we're going to be on this fixed income, we're going to get our pension or Social Security or the measly 401k or whatever it is. And then you're looking at your budget and what you got, your mortgage payment and food and everything. And then you're going, we're not going to be able to afford this $1,800 a month in credit cards. So you're going to at some point have to stop paying that. Well, if you know that, why continue to pay now all the way up to the point where you're definitely not going to be able to pay and you've thrown another 20 or 30,000 at it and then you let it go. Make a plan today. You can look ahead and see there's a cliff, right? Don't wait till you get to the edge and then go, help. We can fix it now. We have time to turn this franchise around right now.
Yeah. I was just looking at, my accounts, how they've been growing because I've been able to put money in it years ago and let them work for ourselves. I mean, you and I were talking earlier about an account with a lot of money in it, how it just, money makes money, but you got to get the money in there to begin with.
Yeah, you could start an Acorn account with $5. And then you can
I do
set it up
$20 a week for my granddaughter.
Yeah, and then you can set it up to auto invest. You can $5 a week, $10 a week, $20 a week, whatever. You can do the roundups, and you can have it so it's set and forget it. You don't even notice the money's gone, but you just got to get started. If you've got no retirement, no investments, and all you have is debt, we have to turn this franchise around. The sooner we turn it around, the better. And if you can beans and rice your way out of it, then do it. But most people can't. Most people
That's not
try.
Sustainable.
And, and maybe you can but prices of everything are going up, going up, going up. Beans and rice is not the only way to get out of debt. There are other options. You just have to understand what they are.
The problem with the beans and rice approach is it's just not sustainable. You might do it for a month or 2 months in my lifetime, I've been through every kind of economic fad that there is. You remember when couponing was so hot and everybody was doing the coupons and stuff?
Steve, I sold coupon books when I was in college as like a way to make a little side hustle money. I would go door to door selling, hey, these books of coupons, it's only $20 and there's $250 worth of savings.
Yeah, if that was sustainable, where are the people walking around the store now with their binders of coupons?
Yeah, it's very small number of people can actually do that, or they'll do it the first time and go, oh, I saved a little bit of money, but it's tedious. And then, life is life, and they get going with life, and they're not way into couponing, so they don't do it.
Yeah, and the other thing that happens when you're doing that, right, you're using the coupons, is you end up buying a whole bunch of more shit that you don't need.
Yeah, because I had a coupon.
Right. I got to get 5 for 1.
Yeah, like just everybody can relate to this. How many times have you bought a coupon book from a fundraiser or something, help somebody out, and then you found the coupon book in the bottom of your purse like 4 years later, never used a single one, but at the time it's like, wow, this is $200 worth of savings for only $20 today, and you never got any savings.
When you think about it, I can't remember the last time I was standing in line at a grocery store and somebody was pulling out coupons.
Well, they do digital coupons now if you do them, but dude, even the coupon codes, on websites and checkout, I've got the point now where I'm just kind of, they have so many different websites, and like I used to go, like, I'm gonna search for a coupon for this website.
Yeah, right.
And then now I've realized most of them never work, and I end up spending 10, 15, 20 minutes trying to get a damn 10%. I don't even bother with it anymore. I get so fed up with it. It's just, and they're, this coupon last worked 5 minutes ago. I pasted in, nope, invalid code. And I'm like, son of a, it did not work 5 minutes ago. I guarantee it.
I know.
But the point is, people try. You want to save money, but if it's not simple and easy and just automatic, it doesn't happen, right? So saying that's with beans and rice. It's like you get the budget set up and you get all motivated and you talk to your spouse, you talk to your kids, and all right, there's a new sheriff in town and we're gonna, cut out all this stuff and we're gonna save money. And you might pull it off for a month, maybe 2, and then it just drags and people are like, kids are like, really, Dad?
Right. The other thing that happens is you've done that and you feel like you're starving yourself of just enjoying life. And then it starts with, all right, I'm going to get this Starbucks just today.
Yeah. And then that Starbucks is like the best Starbucks you ever tasted after you've been on a budget for a month. And then you got one spouse kind of sneaking it, like, I got some petty cash in the drawer. That's off the books.
Yeah. The most effective thing that I think that I have ever personally done to curtail unnecessary spending, absolutely, this is the best thing I've ever done in my life, is before I buy something, I just ask myself, do I really need this? And let me give you an example. So last week, Damon knows where my office is in the house upstairs. I haven't used it in like 3 years.
I don't think I've been in your office the last couple of times I've been to your house, because we do the garage office now.
Yeah, we use the garage office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I decided, well, I'm going to fire up the computer, and there was a particular program that I wanted to use, but it wouldn't run on my Mac Mini Intel processor one. And so the first thought was, oh, crap, well, I'm going to have to just replace this computer. And I looked at the prices, and they're like $1,000 or $900. And then I thought to myself, well, this thing will run in Windows. So I just renewed my subscription for Parallels so I can run Windows on my Mac for $100.
Yeah.
So my point is that because I thought about it for a second, I didn't have to spend $1,000. I could end up with the same outcome for $100. And that awareness will help.
And that's a good story, and it really did come off as a first world problem. You know,
Mm-hmm.
So my other office upstairs, which I really haven't been to in a few years, I got a couple other computers up there, and it's like, do I want to spend $1,000? But Steve was smart with his money and didn't carry debt over the years, so he
Right.
can really. Retirement is the wrong word for Steve, because I mean, it was not like you had a job, right? So basically, Steve's in, I can do whatever the hell I want to do mode at this point. You can call it retirement. You can call it what you want, but you can say, hey, look, he was smart with his money. He didn't get in debt. And now he's at a stage in his life where, he's doing a lot of different podcasts because he's into them. And he's just like waking up and like, what do I feel like doing today? What excites me? What gets me motivated? And he does that. It's like the greatest thing ever, I would assume. Right, Steve?
Well, it is. And it's entirely the result of, in 1990, I went bankrupt.
Yeah.
So because of that, I just said to myself, and that's where this expression I always say comes from, all right, let's see what we can learn from this and do better moving forward. And since 1994, I have not worked for anybody else.
Yeah.
I've essentially been self-employed.
So 30 years ago, you went bankrupt. You got into a spot, and you just you didn't want to. If you go back, you tell the story all the time, and it was like the shame and all the stuff, the emotions that you went through. But you finally just realized
normal emotions.
I needed to do it, and you did it. And now project forward 30 years from bankruptcy to, I call it FU money, right? Like I can do whatever I want, and that was that bankruptcy changed the trajectory. And got you to where you're at now. Whereas if you go back and if you didn't file that bankruptcy, you didn't get out of the debt. No, I'm gonna stick to my principles or whatever it is, and I'd
still be on a treadmill and broke.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull. Like you might have maybe been able to find another job and keep paying and keep paying. You might have been able to pull it out, but you also might still be working if you did that right now. Like I can't afford to retire.
Yeah, I mean, some people might look at my bankruptcy or any bankruptcy as somebody's greatest failure, but the reality is it turned out to be my biggest strength because after 91, when I went bankrupt, the first thing I started doing was saving as much money as I possibly could. Mm-hmm. And guess what happened in the stock market? It exploded. Yeah. And so, that was a huge payoff. If I had stayed on that treadmill and not done that, I would be, as I say, writing myself a letter telling myself what kind of cat food I want to eat in my retirement.
And wiping out that debt in the early 90s for you put you in a position to where you could start aggressively saving money and, like you say, doing better moving forward. Okay.
Yeah.
That was not a fun experience. I didn't particularly enjoy doing that. I'd like to not have to do that again. So what lessons can I learn from, the first part of my life up to this point? And how can I do better moving forward? And fast forward, like I said, 30 years later, Steve gets up and does whatever the hell he wants. And Steve just had a birthday. And because Steve's not an old man, I mean, we call him the old get out of debt guy. I mean, but he's not 90 years old or anything. He's got plenty of life left. What am I, 47? You're 19 years younger than me. So you're, 66?
I'm 66.
66, right about the year. Everybody says retire. Well, Steve's been, again, quote unquote, retired for essentially as long as I've known him because he's never had a job. He just basically has been doing what he's wanted to do. And, and I'll get like emails or I'll call him and like today, he sends me this podcast. He goes, oh, here's a new podcast I just made up. Tell me what you think. Like he just makes stuff up. I'm going to start this. I'm going to start this. I'm going to do that. just because he wants to and he enjoys it. It doesn't have to have a profit motive for him. It's a hobby.
That's why I was the chief pilot for search and rescue for 5 years, because I could.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was rolling in the big bucks. It was, and you did, you flew,
rescue
dogs. Yeah, he rescued dogs
did that for 5 years.
Had a plane. Who has a plane?
Yeah.
Had a plane, had a hangar. It's like, what am I going to do with my plane today? Oh, I know. I'm going to go pick up some dogs at a kill shelter and take them to a place where there's a no-kill shelter, and I'll just fund it out of my own pocket. That's fine.
Yeah, and it's all because I went bankrupt.
Yeah. So, and you were, I mean, that was quite a while ago now. So Steve was like in his mid-50s doing this kind of stuff. Just like, well, because I can. I'm going to take the day and I'm going to fly up to Charleston, get a couple of cute puppies and rescue them, and then take them down to South Carolina or whatever, because he could.
Right. Well, again, it's because life forced me into making a very tough decision about filing bankruptcy that felt horrible. It felt all the way that people normally feel now.
Yeah.
I wasn't like celebrating at the time or anything else because I didn't have you, Damon, or somebody like me explaining to me what the reality versus my emotions were. Now, the reality was, hey, Steve, if you live through this right now, nobody's going to give a damn. And your life for the rest of your life is going to be so much better.
Yeah. And if you had a window into your future back in the early 90s and was like, hey, look, I know this doesn't feel good now, but if you can take these steps that you need to take, whatever those steps, we're not saying you just have to file bankruptcy and your life is magic.
No.
But getting yourself, out of that situation, however we need to do it, if you had that window where you could say, you're going to be flying dogs all over the place out of the kindness of your heart, and you're going to be a rescue pilot with the fire department, and you're going to be able to do whatever. And all of that stems from these decisions you're making today. That would have made that choice a lot easier for you.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
You're like, oh, all right, sign me up. Cool. Let's do it. I'm going to go fly puppies. Steve likes dogs. He's a dog guy.
The irony is that, my bankruptcy was the most humanitarian thing that I could have done. I mean, I flew, when we had that last giant hurricane in New Orleans, I flew in 5,000 hot meals.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, as a rescue pilot to help save people after the storm.
Yeah. Yeah, and if Steve was slaving away, working at a job, trying to fund some retirement, he wouldn't have been able to do any of that stuff.
Right. So if you find yourself in a hole, of course, the universal rule of if you find yourself in a hole is stop digging.
Stop digging, exactly. Time out, stop.
Yeah.
Let's assess the situation and climb out of the hole.
Yeah, if you're in a financial panic right now and you're listening to our voices, stop. You don't have to. Your life can be so much different and better if you just deal with it right now. And you don't have to believe me. Talk to Damon, for God's sake. You can visit his website, damonday.com, DAMONDAY.com. He's not going to convince you to do anything, but he's going to talk with you as a friend about what reality is and then allow you to make your own decision.
Yeah, we're going to stop digging, assess the situation, and we'll do better moving forward, whatever that looks like.
All right, Damon, I think we should wrap it up there.
I think it was good. I mean, you think, hopefully it's scared straight. I mean, we weren't super harsh, but bottom line, guys, everything's going to be more expensive than you think it is 20, 30, 40 years from now. You need a lot more money than you think you do. And if I'm wrong, I'm not, but if I'm wrong, in 20 years, you're not going to be like, that son of a bitch, Damon, made me save too much money, and now I have all this cash in my bank. What an asshole. You'll still like me.
Yeah, nobody ever retires. Nobody ever is on their deathbed saying, I wish I worked another day longer.
All this extra money I have to give to my kids. Damn it.
Damn. All right, Damon, I will see ya.
Peace.
Steve Rhode and Damon Day are coming at you fast, getting you out of debt with their true grown man. Steve's the yin to Damon's yang, and they are here to save the day.